Alright, I think we are hopefully, with that, hopefully we're live. Um, hopefully anyway. Can you give us a check on it? Yay, we're on. It's cool. Right, so we are live, even though my software is being a bit daft because it's saying that I have no chat, no viewers, no nothing. Great. Excellent start. Is my audio okay, yeah? No? My audio okay? Yeah, cool. Right, sweet. Okay, so yeah, hello everybody. Welcome again to Discussing the Resilient podcast. Obviously, I'm Aiden. And yeah, a big week coming up this week. Obviously, for those who don't know, London Grand Tournament is coming. Hello everybody in the chat. Okay, chat's working now. Good. Happy about that. So sweet. Good to know, Morton. Glad you can hear me. And good to see you too. So yeah, for people that don't know, London Grand Tournament is the biggest event that happens in the UK for 40k competitive. Um, this year we've had a full sellout. Well, not we, it's not my event, but it's fully sold out. And not only that, they then additionally put additional tickets on. So I think we're looking at near like 800 plus players. So it's quite important, especially if you're after ranking ITC points, because obviously there's tons available. So yeah, it's a big event. It's happening this weekend. Coming today at midnight is list submission deadline. I haven't done it yet. Um, hopefully we're going to build it on here. I have something in mind, but hopefully I can talk to the people in the chat. We can get some, ideas from you guys, some feedback maybe, and you can also sort of see what it is. I've got another list to look at, which is Death Guard Dave, who's also going from Vanguard Tactics. So we can have a look at his list, what he's thinking, what he's taking. And yeah, well, and might even have another list I can actually look at there, so that'd be quite cool. Right, before we get into that though, right, let me think, pick my brain. Yeah, so the channel now is it's been doing fairly well. We are at the moment we are now legal for monetization, which is quite cool. So we have actually set up memberships, so you can join, be a member. At the moment, there's a couple of emotes, couple like little thingamajiggers, what they call reacts, and obviously a little membership badge. Also, the idea is that going forward in the channel, obviously we're doing some series. We've got the faction fundamentals. I'm hoping to start another series soon, which will be called A Perfect Plague for. So that will be a video series focused on Death Guard matchup versus specific factions. So it'll be like a Perfect Plague for like Sisters of Battle, Perfect Plague for Space Marines. So if that's something that sounds quite cool to you guys and you'd like to maybe, have a say in like the order that those videos get made, I'm gonna be people that have memberships are gonna be able to like vote on upcoming sort of like videos. So if you really want to know how to like kick your mate's Necron's ass and you want to get that video up first, you can join a member. I think it's like £3-4 a month, can't remember. And then you can just put your vote in. And obviously, if yours wins, we'll do that episode first. And obviously, second place, third place, we'll do it in that order. So if that sounds like a series you guys would be interested in, like I said, more about facing specific factions, units versus specific factions, tactics versus specific factions, then do let me know. That'd be really cool. But in the future for that, I'm also thinking of doing stuff like list reviews, so you can obviously members can submit lists, etc., and we can review them. Yeah, there's quite a lot I want to do with the channel at the moment. The biggest thing is obviously time. Time is quite constraining. Like I do a full-time job as well as this is a hobby essentially. But I'm hoping that we can keep growing it. If you want to sign up for the membership, it should just be the join button on my YouTube page or even on the thing you're looking at, Jordan. The actual stream page. Should be a button. So can you just check that for me now? So is there a join button on the actual stream? Yeah, so next to my name, Discussing Resilient Podcast, there's a little join button. There you go, it's free quid a month. There you go, not £4. I even kept the price down. Obviously, the members' benefits will hopefully expand as I get to spend a bit more time on this and sort of get my head around it. I am sort of new to the whole YouTube thing myself, so still figuring it out a bit. But yeah, that is something. So, but you're not here to hear me chat shit. Oh, also, he says not about chatting shit, and then he's about to chat more shit. People have been asking about merch like dice and stuff like that. That's something we can also look at. I'll have to look into that a bit more, but if people be interested in that, you want some cherry aid dice and whatnot. Oh, okay, fair. Thank you very much, Martin. Welcome to the Plague Marines. That's awesome. So you are my first official member. You get a sticky badge of extra smelliness. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Thank you very much for joining. I'll have a poll up later this week in the community tab. I'll message you and we'll sort out sort of like voting on the next tiers and what on the next topics and whatnot. We'll get there. But thank you very much. Massively appreciated. That's awesome. Thank you. Um, but yeah, let's move on to the actual London Grand Tournament because half the people are here obviously to hear about this and what we're going to be thinking of taking. Just out of curiosity, is anyone else in the chat attending LGT? Obviously, I know some people from my club that we play at are in the chat. And oh my, thank you very much, Geek Abaddon, another member. I was okay, fair play. Thank you very much, mate. Welcome to the Plague Marines here. Happy to have you, bud, and thank you for the support. Rusty in the chat, unpopular opinion, hellbrutes are overrated. We're gonna get to that one. So what I'm gonna do, let's get into the list. Let's get into some lists. Okay, let's get into the meat and potatoes that people want here. I'm gonna build my list that we took to the RTT, and that was the list I was thinking of taking to London. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna mess with it. So let's go LGT list, sure thing. Add a force, Death Guard, sure thing. Army roster, yep. Okie dokie, skadoosh. Okay, battle size 2. There we go. All right. So this is the list we took to the RTT, and what we're doing is. Okay, we got a supercharge. Well, this is going great. Look how fantastic this is. Very casual. First game 40k at 3 o'clock yesterday. Or 1,500, sorry. I learned don't place 1 or 2 PBCs in the room and it got blown off the board. So, yeah. You do have to be careful against Tau, especially if they got stuff like hammerheads and whatnot. Always keep your PBCs hidden because it's just a general rule of thumb. Always plan for you going second in the game, unless your in plan to win requires you to go first. Sometimes we do get put in matchups which require us to basically risk it all. Then you can apply on the line, but part of that, in most games, I would advise hide almost everything so that if they get first turn, the damage you're going to take is minimal. But like you said, it's your first game 40k at 1,500. Don't worry about it, mate. Don't beat yourself up or anything like that. But I do hope you enjoyed the game, and thank you very much for the super chat. Bloody hell, Noah Brown and Are You Critting Me, both welcome to the Plague Marine tier. So another 2 memberships. This is going excellent. Oh, thank you very much for the support, guys. Again, I'll have a poll up later so we can sort of like start voting on the content we want to see coming up. But thank you very much. Jordan Strunk again. Okay, if you guys are going to keep chaining these, I'm going to have to like say it all together so I don't keep interrupting myself. But thank you very much for the support and welcome to Plague Marines here. Thank you very much. Massively appreciate it, guys. Oh, I'm happy now. I'm buzzing. Okay, so let's build this list we took to the RTT. So obviously we had Mortarion in the list. I had Typhus in the list. We had a Lord of Virulence. We had our Sorcerer boy, which is apparently I can't see. Remember this guy, Sorcerer and Palanquin. There we go, Sorcerer. Remember that guy? It was a long time ago. Then we had 2 units of Cultists. Cultist. We didn't have any Blight Lords. We had 2 units of Death Shroud Terminators. We had. I'm just going to put in 2. It's not 2 units. I'll just do it properly. Poxwalkers. There we go. 20. All the way up to 20. So we had a full score of 20 Poxwalkers. Then we had on the vehicles side, obviously, the Don't Leave Home Without Them, the Plague Burst Crawler. There they are. 1, 2, 3. We had Plague Spitters on 2 of the buggers. Plague Spitters. Oh, we had a Chaos Lord actually as well, didn't we? Death Guard Chaos Lord in Terminator armor, who had the Living Plague upgrade, so give him that 12-inch aura. I'm not going to bother weapons and stuff, guys. Don't worry about that too much. Then we had some Nurglings. 1, 2. We had a Predator Annihilator, who I'm actually still really enjoying, if I can find it. Death Guard Predator Annihilator. With all the las cannons. And we had a hellbrute. And then on, I think it was the Lord of Virulence, we had like Deadly Pathogen because we had 15 points left. Yeah, let's not show that up there. Okay, thank you, email. You don't need to pop up. Thank you very much. But yeah, okay. So let's have a quick chat real quick. I'm more than happy to support DevCast Surf. Nurgle Manchester's helped me for years now. This is the best DevCast stuff. Well, thank you very much for the kind words. I'm very happy that you think this is some of the best DevGuard content out there. Thank you very much. Hello, Nurgle Matthew. Welcome to the chat as well. Um, yeah, Rusty, you're attending. That'll be cool. If you manage to come over and find me, feel free to say hi. I'm always up for meeting people. It's always great. Um, I'm not some like big celebrity or anything like that. So like, feel free to just come over. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be like weird or anything. I might even give you a kind of cherry aid. Um, Prometheus Williams, the membership button is next to my name, just below the screen you watch. It should say join, and it's on there. But if you click the join button, it'll take you through if you're interested. David Irvin, also hello in chat. People that don't know, actually, David Irvin in chat is kind of the person that got me into competitive 40k. He was the boogeyman forever of our local Games Workshop store. People would come in and be like, "Oh no, I'm paired against David Irvin. He's gonna kick my ass." And he did. Don't get me wrong. Most of the time, he kicked my ass. His record tabling me was he got turn 1 and he tabled me. I didn't get a turn. And rather than that putting me off 40k, it actually kind of weirdly intrigued me. So you know. But yeah, where are the Nurglings? The Nurglings are at the bottom of the list there, at the bottom there. So this isn't the list. So people that are joining now, this isn't the LGT list. This is the list I took to the RTT, and it's a list we're going to talk about because there's definitely going to be some changes to this list. So moving on from there. Hello there, Joe. How are you doing, Joe in the chat? Let's go, DefGuard. Hey boy. Right. So I went to the RTT, and if you listen to the last episode of the podcast, obviously I had some thoughts about the list, what worked, what didn't work. By the way, the giant pink light in the background is actually just a can of cherryade that is glowing with holy righteousness. And at this RTT, we discovered a few things, and I think, Rusty, coming back to your point, I think I agree. The hellbrute, which I was running with plasma cannon, and a fist with a combi bolter, I think it's a good piece. I think it's a tech piece that's pretty good. Fairly strong, obviously applying contagion from range is great. I was using him from strat reserves to bring him in and shoot something. However, do I actually feel like I needed it? Debatable. What would often quite happen is he would come in from strategic reserves, potentially tag something, and then it'd basically be trying to risk a 9-inch charge, normally failing it, dying the next turn, and that was about it. So it was 140 points to tag one unit for one turn. And don't get me wrong, he got into angles and tagged units that would have been hard to tag in the first place. But most of the time, he'd come in, do that, and then die. And if he was like, if he was like 100 points doing that, okay, fair enough. But the problem is he's not. He's like one of the most expensive units in the entire list. And at 140 points, that's not great. And another thing going against him is the terrain at the RTT had a lot of very open space in the middle, so for him to get them shots off was quite easy. LGT and UKTC terrain isn't always that simple. It's not as open always. It's quite dense in some areas, so actually him getting shots onto those important units is going to be a lot harder than it was at the RTT. And the RTT was already a bit like, yeah, a bit thingy. Hello, Zito. Hello in the chat. Zito in the chat, everyone, is the fellow that attended the RTT with me. I've known him from the Nurgles Mansion Discord and I've met him at events before. And he managed to actually take second place. He outdid me for best Death Guard. So, very well played, Zito. I hope your second place trophy is looking glorious on your wall somewhere. And I'm still super proud of you, buddy. I still think it's best as melee brute with twin link fists. You were doing quite some work with that melee build hellbrute, which I might have to look into. Very interesting. Obviously, you've got the dual combi bolters or flamers, so you can even go flamer and combi bolter, so you can still tag stuff, but it gives you that really nasty melee counterpunch unit. So that's quite interesting to think about. I might have to look into that. But as it stands right now, I think personally, the hellbrute is gonzo from my list. Just put these last cans on here. Just put all weapons on. Because yeah, I don't know. I felt like if I needed to have contagion in a certain area, I could do that anyway. And the hellbrute was nice to have, but not necessary, especially for 140 points. I think if he was like 120, I'd be much more thingy about dropping him. But at 140, it's a lot of points that could be used elsewhere. So for me personally, the hellbrute is being dropped from the list for the meantime. I'm just gonna sit. Now, if you're in the chat thinking I'm nuts and I'm bonkers and crazy, please feel free because we can. Obviously, my opinion doesn't mean it's always the right opinion. Maybe you guys have thought of something I haven't thought of with it, and it'd be good to hear that as well. Um, well, here we go, Rusty again. I like, however, getting contagion where I need it, and because I use boil blight a lot. Boil blight plus triple plate plus crawler is basically pick a unit, delete it. Almost as good as that, especially if you've got the -1 save. Because I actually play a lot with the -1 save contagion. I know there's a big thing about everyone raving about -1 ballistic skill, -1 weapon skill, but I think I said it in the last episode as well. A unit does less damage to you if it's -1 weapon skill and -1 ballistic skill. True. It does even less damage to you if it's already dead. So I was looking at the icon bearer. So what I've actually done on my list is I've put in an icon bearer. Well, we'll put it in a second. Let's finish off getting rid of what we're cutting. Chaos Lord in Terminator armor. So I got this from the Innes Wilson episode, trying it out. The idea is that you could sit on a mid board, project his aura out, tag stuff for mortal wounds that are hiding in like adjacent ruins, etc. And it did that, but the problem was over the 3 games and the 20 something rolls he had, I think I made 2. And I'm not really here for that. I'm not really, because like, okay, everyone's gonna be saying that, yeah, but that's mega unlucky, and you're right, it is mega unlucky. But at the same time, like, it can happen. And again, this is a 105-point unit. This is more expensive than a bloat drone. And all game, he got like a contagion a couple units. But again, is this something that couldn't just have been achieved by me like moving, advancing some cultists? Not really. Um, so his usefulness in that aspect kind of kept going down. I don't have enough like character skew like Innes Wilson was running with his list to fully capitalize on that. And also, he just never had an impact. I always felt like I was playing 100 points down because he was that little impact. Now, I could have deep struck him on his own just to do secondaries, but I can also do that like with a sorcerer for 70 points for much cheaper, or just take the enhancement off him. There's more, or you could just take more Nurglings, 35 points. Now, admittedly, it's harder to screen a 40 mil base than it is 3 Nurgling bases, but the point I'm making remains. For a lot of points, 105, he didn't have the impact I was hoping for. So for now, he's Gonzo. So another issue I kept having was Death Guard cultists. I really like, but I'm keep running into this issue where, I mean, one, I keep going second, which sucks, but I keep having one unit of cultists that actually does something, but then I always have this second unit that just doesn't do anything. It exists, or it just dies before it ever does anything. And the problem I'm having, I'm playing against a lot of armies that have deep strike and anti-infantry shooting. So I played against like Seraphim with hand flamers. I had aggressors coming in from reserves. And we had Grey Knights and Purifiers. So the problem was, even if I got my cultists onto like the side objective, so not your one that's in your deployment, you have like, so you think about this is your battlefield here. And this is your deployment up in this bit here. You normally have like another objective here, so it's clearly on your board side, but it's not in your deployments. But it's like I always call it the natural objective because I used to watch StarCraft, and that's what you'd call like your natural expansion and whatnot. So that's your natural objective that you are like predicted to hold, and then they have one, and then there's obviously the middle one, which is a full no man's land. I'd keep getting cultists onto that natural, and I'd screen the best I could, but Cultists are such a squishy unit because of their crap save, obviously, that the second anything got line of sight onto them and touched them, they'd wipe the squad or they'd kill enough to make you fail battle shock test. And as much as you can pay the 1 CP to auto pass once, command points in Death Guard are actually quite valuable because I think genuinely have some really good strats. So to be using command points on that was a bad feeling. So I was kept hoping that I'd rather have something like a bloat drone instead. Yeah, it's double the points, but it's not a unit that can just be picked up by like hand flamers or like bolt rifles or normal flamers or stuff like that. Like to kill a bloat drone, you have to actually commit to killing it a decent amount. Plus, it has the self-defense for the plague spitters on it. So if they come within 12 or 9 to pull a charge off to try and steal the objective, chances are you're going to get a good spray off onto them as well. So you could potentially, kill them as they come in. As if they come in with multi-metals or something like that, and they come in at 9, again you can spray, sort of defend yourself a bit. And they're OC free, so they're not bad. They're not bad for holding points. But I wish I had something like that. Or I miss my old Rhino on Plague Marines, because again we talk about activation burn. Having a Rhino on a point with units inside it, if one unit comes in, even if it's like a Knight Castellan or a Knight Tyrant, pops its ass up behind you because you forgot somehow there was a Knight Tyrant in reserves, and you're a Rhino with Plague Marines on the point, all the damage that thing in the world can do will not take you off that point, because all it can do is kill the Rhino, and once the Rhino's dead, you guys get out onto the objective, and it's still yours, and then you're going to sticky it in your turn. So, it made me really miss my Rhinos, and unfortunately, we can't put Cultists in our Rhinos because we're not Chaos Space Marines, and they don't love us. We're not allowed, apparently, which breaks my heart. The real reason is because if they did let us do that, we could have scouting Rhinos, and they probably don't want us to do that, but that would be funny. So, that's something we're going to come into when we start adding units. But right now, I want to keep one unit of Cultists, because I believe Cultists are very good at doing the turn 1 sticky if you get a chance to do it. And also, they're a fairly cheap unit that can screen, hold back line, also do the scout, move, advance, boil, blight play. So having it there as like a tool, just that one unit, just as a little bit of a flexible tool choice. You can, depend if you get first turn, you can go for that turn 1 sticky, or you can go really aggressive and get turn 1 boil, blight play off. Or if you just want to pull them back and screen your backfield out, you can also do that. So I still want to include one unit, but I don't think I need the second unit anymore. This could bite me in the ass, because one thing that did happen, I will admit, they always caused an uptrade. I'd send out 50 points of Cultists, they would die, get picked up by something, but the thing that picked them up was always more expensive than they were, and then I would then trade that back, which isn't a bad thing. So I'm going to drop them, but it's not like an easy drop like the hellbrute or the chaos lord was. This is a bit of an oof drop. It's not the nicest. Seacag, thank you very much for becoming a member, mate. Welcome to the Plague Marines here. I'm not sure if you heard before, but we'll have some polls going up later this week to discuss upcoming content that you want to vote for, to see sort of the kind of content that gets made next on the channel. But thank you very much for your support. It's massively appreciated. He's gifted a sub as well. Thank you very much, mate, for gifting a membership. Who's the lucky bugger who got that one, I wonder? I can't actually see it on my Streamlabs. Who got the lucky membership? Can we tell you? I'm not sure. We'll find out, I'm sure. Make sure you got your gift turned on, people, because that could be your membership. Thank you very much for the support, mate. So, Cultist 1 unit gone. Now, this is an interesting one here. The Death Guard sorcerer in Terminator armor. I might drop this guy, and it kills me, because this guy, when he goes off, can uptrade massively. Free wound like Harlequin bikes, free wound aggressors, especially at the moment with aggressive being thingy. But the problem is he can also whiff. You can either get low shots, or you can just miss because he hits on freeze, so you can just whiff everything. And the problem is, you sit there and you ask yourself, okay, 70 points for a unit that can potentially spike and do a lot of damage is good, but the potential for it also to do nothing. And when we talk about competitive play, one of the things you kind of want from units is reliability. So I'm probably going to be dropping this man for now, as much as it hurts, and as much as I don't want to, because he's been such a chad when I've used him. He's uptraded massively in many games. I'm just going to take this off as well, this enhancement. But I don't think it's the right call to bring him. Now, the -1 damage is very nice. I won't deny that. But again, I do have access to that for 2 CP. It's not the greatest, but the amount of times I've been in melee combat with him and it's massively mattered, it was like once versus the Grey Knights, and even then they devil wound the unit to death. So yeah, he's okay. I like him. It's a good unit. I wouldn't say he's a bad unit at all, but I don't know if I can risk a very whiffy. Yeah, he's a bold strategy cut, and let's see if it pays off for him. That's how it feels. He can drop in and he can pick up a tank, or he can drop in and do 0. So I'm gonna drop him for now. We'll drop him for now. Hopefully we'll find some good use to him. Right, this one I need help with, guys. 20 Poxwalkers. This one is killing me. I don't want to open that. 20 Poxwalkers. Right now I've been playing with Typhus, but as you can just see, we just dropped a Sorcerer Lord. So Typhus will have to go with one of the Death Shroud at this point, which means we've got 20 Poxwalkers with no Typhus. At this point, do we consider just dropping the Poxwalkers? Because some games, the Poxwalkers have done jack shit and they just died. But in other games, I've brought in Poxwalkers on a flank, and, after we've killed some anti-infantry firepower with the Plagueburst crawlers, and they've been an absolute nightmare to remove. So, do we really want to remove them? Questions. What we're going to do for now, we'll remove them because, again, we don't have a home for Typhus anymore. Please remove the entire unit. Thank you. I just removed somewhat badly. Ooh. There you go. But we'll probably come back to that one because, again, unsure on it. So, Predator Annihilator. I'm going to keep this guy because he's still the only source of long-range anti-tank shooting in our army. He's not the best. He's not particularly great. If I was being a realist, I should probably be taking like 2 War Dog Brigands. But I'm trying to stick pure. Because when when I do Death Guard, I want to try and take Death Guard. Now, I'll take Nurglings. To me, Nurglings are a bit of an exception because there are plenty of Nurglings on our models, so I'm allowed to get away with that. But one thing, also Nurglings is just really good. Like 35 points for scoring secondaries, it's kind of a no-brainer. But I try to avoid Chaos Knights as much as possible. So for me, the next best thing is the Predator. Plus, the Predator has the range on Brigands, 48 to 24, and 36 on the Sponsons. But this guy, honestly, he's called the little Predator that could because every game I've played him, he's always managed to like at least take out a tank before he goes down. He's a nice threat. You can set something up and say to them, hey, if you come out to shoot me on this angle, the Predator will respond and pick you, and I'll have a shot back at you potentially. So do so at your own risk. So I'm going to keep the Predator in. I keep the 1 entropy and the triple Plagueburst crawler because the entropies again give me just a little bit more anti-tank, and I have flamers already galore everywhere, so anti-infantry is not really a concern. Sickag. I don't have my own Discord. I tend to use Nurgle's Mansion Discord, which I can provide you a link if you'd like. If that's something you'd be interested in, setting up a members-only Discord or something like that. Just so you guys can like chat between each other and obviously interact with me directly a bit easier. That's something we can look at and talk about setting up. Let us know if that's something you'd like. But as generic rule, I use Nurgle's Mansion Discord for now. If you'd like a link, let me know. I'll post it in the chat for you. If you keep Poxwalkers, you can choose. It is true. Like you can run Poxwalkers without Typhus. Like there's no issue with it at all. It's just a question of do they impact the game enough? So we'll get to that. Trevor Stewart, thank you very much for becoming a member, mate. Welcome to the Plague Marines here. And thank you very much for the support, buddy. Massively appreciate it. Again, there'll be a poll up later in the week for content you can vote on upcoming on the channel. Thank you very much. So, we're looking a bit small. We're looking quite a small list now. So, one thing I massively missed from my list was bloat drones. So I really want to get in not just 1, potentially 2 bloat drones. One I think for the spitters and one I think for the flush motor. So the spitters have to do what I said about holding a natural objective. They're going to go up there and basically chill up there with the flamers, and it can hold the point on its own a lot better than 10 cultists did, who just get like hand flamed off and stuff like that by little cheap 5-man units. Also, it alleviates the need for the hellbrute because they can spread contagions being quite a fast vehicle, so that's quite nice. A lot of people at the RTT were running bloat drones, and a lot of people I speak to have been running them, telling me how good they are for 100 points, so I think it's about time I got on with the bloat drone-ness. Can we get a Discord link? Sure thing, but give me 1 second. Add people to this Discord. How do I do that again? Members, Nichols Mansion, invite people, copy the link. I will put it in the chat. Oh, apparently I can't put it into chat via my own thing, so I'll have to actually go to YouTube on my own stream and then post it there. So, woo, the long-waited route. There you go. Alright, that should pop up in chat in a second for you. There you go. Oh, thank you very much, Rusty, for coming, member. Massively appreciated, mate. Thank you very much for the support, bud. So yeah, I want to put the bloat drones in, because again, I feel like they give the mobility, the ability to extend contagions. And one thing I was missing was those early turn skirmish units to go out. So the people send out little units here and there just to sort of like test the water before the main units connect, like the main big chunky like aggressor bricks and stuff. So having some more units like that can go out and do this kind of thing, I was really missing, because again, cultists go out, they can just get locked down by Overwatch, they can just die, etc., etc. So hopefully, bloat drones will provide better at that. Now, as we said before, one thing I really wanted in, because everyone's been telling me how good they are, and I've not tried it, but I can tell just by looking at it, it's going to be really good, which is the Icon Bearer. So, Icon Bearer's once per game, 12-inch aura of contagion is basically just a better hellbrute, in my opinion, for a third of the cost, or less than a third of the cost, because you can chuck him into the middle of the board and potentially tag multiple units at once, or you can strategic reserve, come in sixth, pop the banner, then again get anyone that's sort of near the edges. And it's just a versatile unit. You're not putting too much into it. Like I said, the hellbrute always died in every game I've played after exposing it. So this guy's going to do the same. He's going to die, but at least I'm throwing away 45 points and not 140. Well, yeah. Forest in the chat's another thing about screening. This list without the Poxwalkers is massively lacking screening, and that is slightly concerning. What do you expect to face in the tournament? LGT, mate, it can be literally anything. Obviously, the higher tables, we're looking to see a lot of Marines, Eldar, Tau. They're the main ones. Potentially Black Templars. They're coming up on the rise quite a lot at the moment. So potentially them. Not too concerned about that. We're always good against brawling, which is really nice. So yeah, but it's gonna be honestly a mad mix. Everyone's there. It's the biggest event in the UK for the entire year, so it's gonna be nuts. Attending my first tournament soon. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat as well, Jacob. Attending my first tournament soon. Any viability in Blight Lord Brick with Lord of Virulence reroll wounds? Would lose Termi, Sorcerer, and Poxwalkers to fit them. Okay, so I've had this thing, and I've seen people talking about it as well. I think the Lord of Virulence actually isn't great with Blight Lords. I think the Lord of Contagion is actually better. And I know I ragged on the Lord of Contagion, but the thing is, because they lack firepower, so it's just bolt guns. Bolt guns don't really hurt anything because they don't have any AP. But what Blight Lords actually do have is a lot of low strength volume of decent AP attacks. Potentially, AP free. If you've got the -1 save contagion, you can also then slap an extra AP on with a CP, so you technically AP4, which is nuts. And the Lord of Contagion gives you the ability to reroll all your hits. So with 40 attacks, obviously you've got some flails in there too, so they're gonna have even more. The ability to farm lethal hits. So if you're in something that you don't wound on nat 4s or easier, just reroll the lot. Like literally, roll all your hit rolls, pick out anything that's not a 6-up and roll them again. And that unit can actually then start doing a lot of damage because it's just a mass amount of high AP damage 1 attacks. So I think he's actually a better use for it. I don't think he's a bad unit, the Blight Lord Brick. I just think that their output is better. Like their output's not great, but their output in melee is still better than their output in shooting. So I would focus on trying to make the output they do better, rather than having 2 mediocre outputs, if that makes sense. But they're still really tough, and for the points, they're quite cheap for the durability. So I don't think they're a bad choice to include. ATQ1. Hi bud, how you doing, Raz? Nice to see you in the chat, bud. ATQ1 is the fella that's designed all the artwork for the Discussing Resilient podcast, including the logo, the header, the banners, the new thumbnails, etc. So massive shout out to him. And thank you very much for all the good work you've been doing, bud. I'll be speaking to you later this week. Hopefully we can start planning the next steps of stuff going forward. But good to see you in chat, bud. And everyone give this man a high five. So love your podcast, dude. Thank you very much, Ben. I'm afraid of jumping through. What do you start for Vanguard? So I'm playing for Vanguard at London. I have my coaching for Vanguard. I have my first lesson for them on Thursday. for their academy, and then going forward, I'll be doing one-to-one coaching sessions as well for them. So, yeah, it's good, exciting times. A lot going on at the moment. It's a bit hectic and busy, but I'm looking forward to it. I think Death Guard is one of the best damage to actually switch leaders game to game. I agree, Jordan. I think I did do it on a previous list, which is swapping typers between Poxwalkers or not. For example, against Custodies, I'd always swap him to being in a Death Shroud unit, whereas against units that I can have a lot of one wound models, I'd put him in the Poxwalkers because there's a lot more chance to regenerate models. I think a good Death Guard player will understand like the ability to attach and not attach characters or switch up what they're attached to and maximize that. So, for example, now this Death Guard Icon Bearer that I really want to use, I'm probably not going to attach him to a squad. However, he needs a launch vehicle to get him into a really good position. So for me, that's going to have to obviously, well, for us, it's a Rhino. Obviously, we don't have a Rhino. Um, I miss my Rhinos anyway, and I was saying before how I wanted a Rhino. So having a Rhino back in the list doesn't upset me. But I don't want to bring a Rhino just for him. So I was thinking infantry wise, actually taking some Plague Marines. Because Plague Marines, actually, with. Not with bolt guns. If you ever take a Plague Marine with a bolt gun, you're doing it wrong. Sorry. Don't. It's so sad. They give us Plague Bolters finally, and then made them basically pointless in taking. So that was fun. And then I wanted a Plague Spewer and a Plasma Gun. Where's Plague Spear, Plasma Gun, please. And then the Sergeant. So I'm running. I think I'm running the 7-man squad. The reason I like the 7-man squad is because it's it's got just enough punch to really be quite threatening, which the 5-man can lack, but it's not the commitment of the 10-man squad. So I think it hits that really nice middle point between the two, where you can basically get a decent, like, this is a unit that can actually go out and deal damage. If you actually put in, which we're going to put in, a biologist putrefier, because I think that character is amazing. Which again, look, 2,000 points. This is what I was thinking of taking. Lethal hits on 5s to hit with the Plague Marines and the free grenade strat. If you actually go out and you can get a grenade strat, you shoot in and then get a charge into it, 7 Plague Marines and a biologist putrefier can pick up a land raider pretty easily. That's pretty impressive. Like, that is quite impressive. And also it means, like, if you're in a Rhino and you explode and your guys get out, you can lose 1 or 2 and not lose too much. So I think there's a lot of good things for a 7-man Plague Marine unit and a Rhino. Plus it doubles up with being allowing you to kick out the Icon Bearer onto the point, which again is helpful for that turn 1 contagion. And again, it's just a really solid unit to have. I always like Biologist Putrefier, hitting on 5 or wounds on 5s to hit, and then you can put a command point on it for lethal and sustained hits on a 5+ is very strong. So that's something I'm looking at. So currently in my head, this is sort of what I'm looking at. So we've got Morty, Biologist Putrefier, Icon Bearer. So we've got a Rhino with Icon Bearer, Biologist Putrefier, 7 Plague Marines. Lord of Virulence and Typhus with 2 units of 3 Death Shroud. We've got 1 unit of 10 Cultists, Predator Annihilator, 2 Bloat Drones, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, a Rhino, and 2 units of Nurglings. So I ask you in the chat, tell me why this list is shit. Like, I want to hear the weaknesses. I want to think the problems with the list. I want to hear what you might think, because again, we're trying to sort of craft this together. What's the plans to deny Deep Strike? So, Deep Strike denial for me on the backfield can be Cultists. It can even just be my own unit of Nurglings. The thing is, because I run so many like flamers on Plague Burst Crawlers, people that tend to Deep Strike near me, I've noticed just kind of end up regretting it. Like, I just kind of murder them. So that's happened. ATK, you don't have to become a member, you goober. But thank you very much, bud. Although I am, you do already enough work for this bloody show and this bloody channel. We'll talk later about that, Mister. You're in trouble for that one. Well, thank you, mate. So secondary plan is I always play tactical, so I don't have a plan per se. I never really do. I know that's probably a bit mad, but there are some plans. So against like Tau, bring it down, teleport home is always a solid one. We have Nurglings. We've got 2 units of Nurglings to be playing that. We obviously have our Death Shroud, etc. Our Bloat drones are very good for actions because they can't be locked up because they can fall back, shoot, and charge, which means they can fall back in action, etc. Which is very nice. The like I said, we've got 2 units in Deep Strike. The Rhino is also able to do actions. The Plague Marines, because they're joined by a Blast Putrefier, also have the Assault keyword, which allows them to do actions. Mortarion quite often does actions because he's more there as a supporting piece rather than an actual attacking and killing piece. So I just think there's more than you think here in terms of actions going on. But let me show you. Let me show you. Okay, so for example, because this is my thought process. Let me change my screen capture a second. There we go. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is the LGT terrain pack. So, for example, let's say we start the game and we get something like cleanse, or we're always going to set our Nurglings up in this middle, one of our unit Nurglings in the middle point, because there's too many options or too many chances that we get turn 1 something like cleanse or deploy teleport homers or area denial. So having them here and being able to go onto the point and do area denial teleport homers is really good. We can set up the Rhino with Plague Marines in this bottom L ruin, and because they got a Biology Putrefier, they can actually disembark, move, advance, have a reasonably good chance with a decent advance to get to this objective, get on it, and do an action like cleanse and whatnot, because again, the assault weapon lets them do that, whilst the Rhino can then just drive around safely. So we have abilities to do that. Obviously, you can also stage a Rhino in here, potentially threaten on the right side. But the right side's honestly not my... That's probably where I'm going to put Cultists. So Cultists behind the big L. Again, if you're going second, you just scout to the wall. Don't move out any further. And in turn 1, you can move, advance out. Potentially, if you need to extend the contagion range because of bad advance rolls and whatnot, if you're worried about advance rolls, you can do that. But you can potentially boil blight anything behind this building on the right. So for a turn 1 here, we've got this objective on the left taken by Plague Marines and Rhinos. Nurglings in the middle just to threaten anything that's there. You can even drop your Plague Marines out onto the left and drive your Rhino into the middle. So your Icon Bearer can threaten a next turn big banner onto this middle area. Obviously, Typhus and not Typhus, sorry, Mortarion and the Plague Scrolls will be hiding mainly behind the big L, etc. But there's play still with the secondaries on this terrain. Now, one thing I will say is because we play with Plague Crawlers, it's quite often that we're making people have to come towards us. I think one of Death Shroud seems fine, but they end up doing nothing so often, so you find a decent spot for Appling. So I play quite weird with my Death Shroud. It's complete counter charge, so half the time I won't be coming in and trying to do damage. Sometimes will if the sprayers have effect. I very rarely do damage in melee with them. Mainly it's to do with the anti-infantry sprayers. That's kind of where I got the most of my damage out of them from. So I've always used 2x3 and it's always just worked for me. It's kind of like my thing. I don't really do like 1 unit of 6. I always feel like it just dies, and that's not the one that I'm like a fan of. So if someone brought like 6 versus me, a unit of 6 Death Shroud, I feel like I could kill that. Like, but you bring 2 versus 3, it becomes harder to lock down, and if you do lock it down and kill it, you don't get as much return on the investment because you've only killed 125 points of Death Shroud. It's just the way I run it personally. I know a lot of people do like the big bricks; they are very strong. But for me personally, I've always run this weird like MSUE style, and I still manage to do enough damage to kill most people. But you know, it's a valid criticism of the list. As long as my wife doesn't find out, so it's our best hope she doesn't, Mister. Ben Hayden, thank you very much for coming, Plague Marine. Also Jacob, Virginia as well. Again, thank you very much you two for the support. Becoming members it means a lot to me. It's massive. I didn't actually think I'd get any members this first stream, but thank you very much, massively appreciated. Again, we'll talk about our benefits for the voting for the upcoming content later on in the week. I'll put a poll up on the community page. So, yeah, so where are we? So this is sort of the list I'm thinking of taking for myself. Now, my concerns are no Poxwalkers and 1 less unit of Cultists is a lot less screening. And that is scary if we run into something like World Eaters. Now, World Eaters aren't mega popular at the moment, but it is a concern. my main thing is melee is not really the meta right now. A little bit more at the moment because Black Templars and whatnot, but they're not fast enough to run me down turn one. Some screens aren't as important, but something like World Eaters, which is worrying, and also Tau if they go full deep strike can also be incredibly worrying. But again, we can rapid ingress, we can use Nurglings and whatnot to sort of screen that out if they decide to put them all in reserves at the start. We can, obviously react to them doing that, but okay, we're going to reserve a lot, we'll bring it in before you have a chance to bring it in, we'll push out with units like, if I'm against Tau, and it's all crisis suits, I'll use the Predator Annihilator as a screen because, again, that thing dying, the free las cannons honestly aren't the greatest loss. It's more important that I preserve the other units in that case, but, it's all swings and roundabouts. I think one good thing about the game at the moment is it's in a fairly healthy state that basically you can't actually account for everything. And that's a good thing as much as a bad thing, because it means there's so much viable stuff. Lists can't be countering everything. I think you just pick and choose your battles, basically. So as Forbar saying, a GSC completely out of the meta. No, they're not. But their popularity is shot down massively because the best players have gone to other armies, and the people that actually did play the army beforehand, the best players that stick with the army, are so minute in comparison to the other armies. It's kind of one of those where out of sight, out of mind. Now, if I run into one, I'm going to have problems, don't get me wrong, but if you dodge them, which is a good chance you do, it's not massively worth teching for. Now, I could eat my words on that, I could run into 5 GSC players in a row, but I'd say that I shouldn't, if that makes sense. And I think that's just the state of the game at the moment. It's weird, it's so Wild West, everyone's trying out all their armies, everyone's sort of gone back to it. With this list, I would be worried about killing characters if I thought Necrons. Now, weird thing is, with Necrons, you don't actually have to kill the characters that much, because they've sort of shifted towards more Necron warrior blocks. Also, thank you very much, Ari, for the membership. I'm not sure if I just said that or not. I can't remember if I said you with Ben, but thank you very much. I'm getting confused now. There's so many coming in. Thank you very much, though, for the support. Necrons have sort of tilted less away from Lichguard bricks. So you're still going to get a Lichguard brick, but a lot of them are taking 20-man Necron warrior bricks now. Now, Necron warriors are not as big an issue as Lichguard to us because they're only 1 wound each, and we can nail them with Plague Burst Crawls. We get 3 chances of them potentially failing a Battle Shock, and as soon as they fail Battle Shock, remember they can't use any stratagems. So as soon as that happens, then we can just bring to bear our anti-infantry flamers, and with something like dropping units to 5-up saves compared to like 4-up invulns with 2 wounds and a feel no pain, you have a much higher chance of being able to kill them. Again, I get what you mean, it swings and roundabouts, but I've not struggled with Necrons so far, so I'm hoping that I won't struggle with it going forward, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Vehicle heavy list. Yeah. The vehicle heavy list is one thing. The hulls being so cheap for Space Marines is a worry. Death Guard in general struggle with anti-vehicle. There's not too much to be said about it. Blight Halls aren't the greatest at anti-vehicle. It's why I'm keeping the Predator in there, just so I have some version of. Why have you subbed some Plague Marine tier? Okay, thank you, Natalie, for becoming a member. It's massively appreciated for your support. It's not like you sat literally next to me or anything. So you've literally, that loses your money, right? Because YouTube take a cut of that. You could have just given me £3. Oh, she wants the sticker. Okay, well you got the sticker. Thank you very much. So yeah, so horde wise, I am completely fine with. Again, I have a lot of flamers on my list, even more now with the bloat drone being included. We have a flamer in the Plague Marine squad out the top of the Rhino. 2 Plagueburst Calls are rocking flamers. All the Death Shroud are rocking flamers. One of the bloat drones is rocking flamers. And the thing is, again, if you're against Endless Swarm, remember, if you battle shock the unit first and then kill it, it can't use the strat to resurrect because it was still battle shocked at the time of death, which means they're not eligible to use the stratagem to resurrect the unit. So if you're going to decide, right, I'm going to pick up this unit, battle shock it, then kill it. Don't forget that. It does feel rough at the moment we're having a Italian one in your list. It is true. 45 points for free CP on average is very good. However, I play tactical. Chances are I'm probably going to ditch 1 or 2 secondaries throughout the game, so I kind of get 2 CP back there. I would like to have a talisman, so I don't have to rely on that. But sometimes, sometimes we have to. But yeah, a talisman's a great choice if you can fit him in. Would recommend fitting him in. But yeah, I haven't struggled too bad for CP in my game so far, so we'll see how it goes forward. Um, yeah, that's another issue. Big trip map putting there. If I put another character in because I've got so many vehicles already, I'm basically just going to give up assassinate and bring it down. Bring it down's already pretty badly given up on this list, but with nothing else being super free, because the thing is that cleanse and teleport homers is usually the things that get taken in combination. If you take teleport homers, I can mortar you out of that place every turn, and it also makes you commit to the middle. And Death Guard love Death Ball, so if you come to the middle one, you know, we can kill you. That's fine. And cleanse, that's okay. We have a lot of trade and a lot of close range. It forces the opponent towards us. And every time you're forcing the opponent to come towards us, which is why Plague Burst Crawl is so good, in doing so, you're just getting into those good positions for being able to set up Death Guard's massive damage output. And that's really strong for us. Again, as someone said before, I would be smart man to take Brigands, but I'm not a smart man, I'm an idiot, and I refuse to take Knights as much as possible. So, yeah. Because again, Brigands being the 24-inch range, that's their weakness. Again, you're forcing enemies towards you. It makes Brigands so much better, and they benefit from the -1 contagion, which is fantastic. For Scorched Difference, does it make sense to burn the objective when you already have sticky and you're not stuck camping it? So, burning is interesting. I would never burn my safe objective. Well, not this one is on the left. I would consider burning the middle and the right one. But again, chances are most people don't actually get to burn until like turn 4 or 5 when the unit's got nothing to do. So I only ever see burning as like a bonus. I never really force burning. Now, one thing you can do is you can obviously force your opponent to deal with a unit. So putting like a bloat drone on there and be like, this guy's going to burn this objective. It's actually quite scary because the opponent now has to kill that thing, which could mean they have to overcommit, kill it, but then obviously trade higher. So there's some things you can do with that, but it's a very weird one, Scorched Earth. Mainly, most people just burn like turn 4, turn 5, when like they've already won the game. Like, yeah, I'll just get some extra points and whatnot. But yeah, it's an odd one. My LGT list: Terminator, Sorcerer, Lord of Virulence, Typhus, 2x10 Blight Lords, Hellbrute, Last Cannon Fist, 3 Death Shadows, Bloat Drone with Spears, 3 Post Crawls, 20 Poxwalkers, and 3x3 Nurglings. That's a scary list. No Morty. No Morty's interesting. But again, I don't think you have to take Morty. I personally do. But you obviously have a lot more bodies there. Like, getting through 60 wounds of Blight Lords is not going to be easy for anyone. And that's not even like half the list. There's like still Death Shroud, Bloat Drones, there's 3 Plague Burst Crawls sitting there, 20 Poxwalkers you've also got to grind through, plus the 3x3 Nurglings. I like that list. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty good list, that. So you got like full real to wound on one of the units. Terminator's also getting another unit -1 damage in combat. Yeah, if you manage to get into a good position on mid board and you basically just stay alive, it's gonna be really hard to take you off stuff. That's the coolest. I look forward to it. Also, I like come and say hello if you can. It's not actually difficult to hide him. I used to think that, but it's really not, because everything is now infinitely high. And obscuring is not a thing anymore, and because he's not over, towering's basically gone anyway, but he's not towering anyway. You can hide him behind the L on the right here. You can hide him behind the center bit. You can even hide him behind this little one on the left. There's always a place you can hide Morty relatively easily, as long as you just angle the wings correctly. Always make sure you look where your wings are going. You kind of want them in this like diagonal to match the ruin, just so people can't get as easy angles. Because people come down the left, blocked by this ruin, blocked by this ruin. They come down the right, they have to go like here before they can even take a shot. I tend to put him behind, just here. The best shot they're gonna get is like if they manage to get something like just to the right of our central middle objective, at which point, like, what the hell has got from there to there in one turn, and you've not done anything about it, and then that's kind of on your own head. So he's not actually as hard to hide as you think on UKTC. Drop the Hellbrute for a pred. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Hellbrute, but if it's working for you, you rock it, mate. Glad you can join the stream live for once. Been listening to all of them when I paint. Keep up the good. Thank you very much, Brawl Dennis. Good to have you here, mate. So what we'll do now though is Death Guard Dave, who is another Death Guard player from Vanguard Tactics, has sent me his list. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull up his list. We're gonna have a look through his list, see what he's taking, and then we're going to sort of like look at each other, and then we're also going to see if we can kick his ass in the mirror. So let's have a look. I've got it on my phone, so I'll create it in Battlescribe again. Let me pull it up on the old screen here. Screen capture. Roster editor. Right, okay. So back to Battlescribe. Hopefully you can all see Battlescribe again. So new. No, don't save it. I've got it saved on my phone. Don't worry. In fact, actually, no, we do need to save it. Yes. Sure. Okay, okay. So again, so we got DG Dave. Add a force. Death Guard. Woo. Let's go. Alright, so let's go through this one now. So let me pull up his message. Alright, so Death Guard Dave is rocking a... Woot, there we go. Biologist Putrefier. If our blight spawn, he likes his fight first. Lord of Virulence. Morty and Typhus. Morty and Typhus. He's then rocking a 7-man Plague Marine block. Again, we're not going to worry about our actual weapon loadouts. It looks like it's the same sort of thing that I was going with. 1 Flamer, Plasma, Heavy Plague weapons, Bubonic weapons. The sort of your standard loadout. Morty can get stuck there, but he doesn't. At a certain point, you have to know when to pull the trigger and start sending Morty out. Again, just keep dodging as many angles as you can. But again, if they don't have much anti-tank, more to that first, get it gone, and then Morty's free to play. So always the way I sort of play him is Morty's kept in check until he no longer has to be, and then I can just let him loose and he can go basically running down the street and doing what he needs to do to, potentially take over the game. Played 5 games over the weekend. We'll say that weapon skill, ballistic modifiers won me over. It is very strong. I won't lie. And yeah, Typhus and Nurglings nearby make it insane. -2 to hit is pretty bonkers and pretty busted. Maybe a bit unfair against melee armies. I won't lie, since they can't do anything about it. But it is good. If you're getting more success out of -1 weapon skill, ballistic skill, take it. I change depending on matchup, but I really like the -1 save. I'm very much like a damage dealy kind of person. Like when I have my go turn, and I just try and smash someone into the dirt on my go turn, and then from there I'll just try and get the lead and run away with it. But again, everyone has their own sort of like playstyle and this sort of thing. No one's wrong in what they do. If you're finding success for -1 plus skill, -weapon skill, you keep rocking that, mate. So he's got a Rhino. He then has a unit of Cultists. This man still has decided to keep his hellbrute, which again, nothing wrong with that. Why does he have to be called Death Guard hellbrute? It's called hellbrute. He then has a big brick of Death Shroud Terminators. Oh, another reason people are like, why don't you run a big brick of Death Shroud Terminators and whatnot? I only own 6, which I know is probably going to get me like fired by most of you. But yeah, I only have 6 owned and painted because I guess I'm not loyal enough to own more than 6. 6 and Typhus, it's 7. It's 7 Shives and Nurgle. Don't need more than that. Never. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Then he has, oh god, another brick. Whoo. And then he has triple PBC, looks like it. Yeah. So, that's 4 PBCs. We can't do that. Okay, so this is Death Guard Dave's list. So, Death Guard Dave can't be on today. He's at a wedding. Hopefully he's enjoying himself and having a good time. But he's obviously giving me permission to talk about it. Hopefully we can get him on later in the week and he can talk about it himself. But as we can see from his list, he's got the core package of characters: Lord of Virulence, Mortari, and Short Plague Bus Crawler. Really like that. Obviously it's staple for now in a lot of lists. Don't feel like you have to do it, but it's very strong to have. He's also going for the 7-man Biology Putrefier in a Rhino. He's been enjoying that a lot. Again, it's what makes me want to try it out a bit as well. He's kept his 1 unit of Cultists. The main difference between our list is basically I've gone wider with like the Bloat drones and the MSU style of Death Shroud. This man's just decided I'm going to put 12 Death Shroud on the board, and that is a horrendous mid-board threat. So obviously we're going to expect them to both be teleporting in, deep strike, probably rapid ingress one of the units, probably deep strike normally the other unit. So his idea is going to be to dominate the middle with this, but he doesn't have too many trading units. He has a hellbrute as well, which I believe is gone. Let me check his weapons a second. I think he's on las cannon. Is it las cannon missiles just to sit back and shoot? Yeah, las cannon missile launcher, which is fine. Again, I know a lot of the time he just shoots the frag missile, even at a tank, just to guarantee he gets a hit because you get D6 shots as compared to the one. Um, that's unlucky, dude. Played Typhus and 3 Death Shroud Termies. Typhus killed 2 of them, rolled once, twice, and got through. Ah, man, that is unlucky. It can happen. It can happen, but hopefully it doesn't happen all the time for you. So as we can see, there's what are the perks of the bloat drone versus the blight hauler? So for me personally, I just find the bloat drone's weaponry and its rule to be more useful. I really hate multi-melter at the moment. I don't know why GW nerfed it to 18-inch range, but the 18-inch range kills me. Because it's just so close to me, and I get we want to be close anyway, but it can feel so restrictive in some instances. The bloat drone, admittedly, is even shorter range at 12. However, it's a different purpose. Obviously, it's anti-infantry versus anti-tank. Um, I just find anti-tanks dealt better elsewhere, but the main benefit of the bloat drone is its rule, which is the fallback shoot and charge, because it means you can never be locked down, you can never be prevented from doing actions, you can always, again, if say you're fighting near the midpoint but not on the midpoint, you're locked in combat, and then you draw some like deploy teleport homers. The blight hauler is not going to help you in that instance. It can fall back, but it can't do anything. Whereas the bloat drone can fall back, and because it can shoot, it can fall back to the middle, deploy teleport homers, or it can just deploy, fall back from the unit it's fighting. If it's like a 2-up save, it's not going to do much to it, and then fly over to a different area and flame something and get more value out of it. I just feel like the bloat drone is more versatile in its role and what it can do on the field compared to other units like the hauler. I think the hauler is mainly best used in units of 2 to 3. A lot of people use it in ones as well to guess because again it's cheap. It's 100 points for Demon Engine, just goes off and does stuff. But I just think if that's the goal for the unit, you just better taking a bloat drone to do that with because again it has that extra utility. And I think haulers are actually better used for like intended purpose, and it just makes them more efficient when it comes to stratagems. Although, well, one thing I will say is effectively AP6 Melter is fucking funny. When you have a Land Raider and he pops smoke and you're just like, nah, you still letting get in a save, buddy. Boom, clean through. That's actually quite funny. So, I think they both have a place, but for me personally, um, you know, I'd go for the bloat drone just because again, you can't be locked down. Even like with a flesh mower, you can fall back, you can charge something into something better. Again, if you charge, like say you're in a combat, someone's charged you, they've swung at you, they've dropped your bloat drone down to 2 wounds. You're in combat with it. You're on 2 wounds. You've killed some of them, but because they charged last turn, they're gonna fight first. They're gonna kill your bloat drone. No, they're not, because you're just gonna fall back, charge back in, which will give you the fights first ability again, and then you're gonna pick them up before they have a chance to pick up you. It's just that utility. And also fly means you can then fly over the unit you're in combat with, so you can go behind them, spread contagion to more units, then charge back in. Whereas the hauler is limited in its movement, and again, you can't fall back, etc. like that. So yeah, James Fox. Oh, yay! Yeah, know you from the Manchester store back in the day, bloody hell. That has been a while now, hasn't it, bud? How long's that been now, mate? God, it's over a couple of years. I've been at my new job for 6 years, so it's like, oh, it's quite a while ago. I'm glad to see you here, mate. I hope you're doing well, bud. Hope you're doing well. So yeah. So that's perks. Yeah, so the perks. So as we can see, Deathglad Dave's gonna put a lot more meat on the bones, but plays a lot closer. So, for example, if the writing in his list is on the wall, it's gonna try and smash you in the face, or it's just gonna try and dominate the middle with his 2 giant bricks. Whilst the Plague Burst crawlers are providing support, I'm just gonna check he's gone weapon wise on his Plague Burst crawlers. Have a quick look. Um, Entropy and 2 spitters. Yeah, the usual 2 entropy, 2 spitters. So again, this is going to be a nightmare for anything infantry or melee wise to deal with. Again, he's got the Typhus that can go with a Death Shroud to make them -2 to hit in combat. So units are going to hate that. He's got all the board control from all these flamers still. It's a very honestly, this is quite a scary list. I would not want to meet this, particularly myself. It's not going to be the nicest to face. Would I be able to take this on and live to tell the tale? The bloat drones are pretty good into this because again, he doesn't have any defense against the anti-infantry sprayers from a vehicle. You try and get infantry in there. Like if he tries to drop within like 12 of my stuff, my flamers and Overwatch hurt him. Less so in the opposite matchup because I have the more bloat drones in the matchup. Again, not chance that I'm not going to play him, but it could happen. But at the same time, Deca Dave has that ability to just not have to play so cute, not have to play so risky with all his units. He can just slam these bad boys in the middle, and if the opponent can't answer him, he's going to have a free, good couple turns on primary while they try and clear him off them. So it's different approaches on different lists, which I think this is what's good at the moment. I think the latest buffs to Death Guard really opened up what we can take and the sort of viable list that we have, and in doing so, it's made the game a lot more fun. Unfortunately, my PCs at entry didn't magnetize them. Now, what I will say, Datsun, is don't worry too much. I go to events, mine are all Plague Spitters. I have one that has a different machine gun on the front, and I just say to my opponents, that guy's the entropy cannon, and if you want, I'll put a marker on him or like a rubber band around him so you can tell. And I've never had a problem. I've not had a single complaint about it. So don't think that you can't do it. Just again, always be clear of your opponent. Always just state, hey, this is this. Or if they're all entropy, you could even just be like, if they're all plague spitters, just say, hey, they're all plague spitters. You don't have to mark them. They're all the same. Don't worry about it. But if for me, like for example, I'll just mark one with something, rubber band, color, dice, anything. Just sell them the machine gun on the front, the entropy cannon. They're fine with it. I've never had an issue. People don't complain. So don't worry too much about like that. Obviously, we try and aim for WYSIWYG, but realistically, we can't magnetize all our models. And if someone was to come against me with the same thing, I've never had an issue with that ever. I've had a guy come with the Caladius grav tanks for Custodes. He had the auto cannons on him, and he was like, "Oh, they're the blaze cannons." I didn't. At no point did I even think in my head, "Hey, that's an auto cannon. You're not having that." No, you just go, "Okay, cool, yeah, they both the same." He's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Yeah, cool, no problem." It's like, don't worry about it too much. Like, don't feel forced to have to do that. Obviously, try and aim for WYSIWYG, but if you've already done it, UKTC, it's yes and no. The thing is, when it comes to UKTC, they're strictly WYSIWYG if it's an issue. If you aren't WYSIWYG and someone goes up to the judge and says, "Hey, that's not WYSIWYG," he will probably have to enforce it. But if your opponent is doing that, they're a dick. And a lot of people don't like being dicks. And most people aren't dicks. So I wouldn't worry too much. I've only ever heard it happen to one person. It happened to Marcus Hinson, I think. He was playing against Sisters round 4. He had some of his Seraphim squad weren't like based on the clear plastic base, and his opponent, which was an interesting individual, let me tell you for sure, went and got a judge, and the judge had to pull his models because technically they weren't based, which is, dumb. And oh yeah, it's happened to me. I didn't have spawn, and people have been like, no. The difference is with the spawn, it's not a weapon choice. I was literally saying, hey, I've left my spawn at home. Can I proxy these entirely different models as them? That's fair enough. If someone says no to that, I don't think that's a dick. I think that's just like, okay, yeah, fair enough, whatever. It's my own fault. But if it was a weapon choice and someone did that, yeah. And the funny thing is though, that opponent that did that to Marcus Hinson, I then faced in round 5, and the fella tried to do some interesting, very interesting, spicy drama almost. If you want to know the spicy cheating drama story, I can let you know. But just if you want to know it, I'll tell you the story. But you gotta let me know you want it. Again, don't get me wrong, cheating and stuff and these stories that I have don't happen very often. I just seem to be a magnet for them for somehow. Toilet dice being one of them, and this fellow was another one. David Irvin who was said before, was there for it, and he witnessed it firsthand. It was very strange, but yeah, it was. Most events I go off without a hitch, no issues. Everyone's lovely, so don't worry too much about the strict UKTC WYSIWYG ruling. Most of the times it won't be an issue, I promise you. Just give me 1 second, fellas. I am just gonna go and get myself a drinky poo. I'll come back as well. They're back from the walk. So I'll give you the drama. Okay, let me go get a drink. Let me go refill this glass. Matt knows. Matty Weos knows. Here we go, Leeds GT 2022. So give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm just gonna go and grab a drink. But by the magic of technology, we have wireless headphones. Isn't that beautiful? So you can all hear it. Ugh. Do 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 do. Hello, Poochie. So just for those in the chat, how many of you are actually attending LGT? How many of you are actually from England? That's a good question. And if not, has anyone got any events upcoming soon they're looking forward to? Maybe first time events like someone said before? Are you guys seasoned veterans? Let us know. It's always good to have a chat in chat. And I'll give you this juicy drama as soon as I've poured this glass of Pepsi Max. I know it's not Cherryade. I know, disappointing. Alright, on my way back. The magic of wireless headphones. Isn't technology great? Well, I was. Um, yeah, wasn't expecting to come back to that. Can you get off my chair, bud? Can you come off the chair, buddy? Come on. One down. Go on, buddy. Good lad. Good lad. Oh, helping himself to my chair. He likes to do that when I'm not there. Let's have a quick look at chat. A Schoolward last kind of defile is not worth it. New to 40k. So, defiles are actually good. The problem that we have on UKTC terrain is we can't move defilers. They're too big, and none of our terrain is under 4 inches, so they can't use their rule to ignore it. So on UKTC, they're very hard to move around. And being hard to move around and clunky is just a death sentence for that unit. They find a lot of good use. Don Houston uses them a lot, and also WTC. What's he called? Bob the Ponch. He's doing very well with them at the moment as well. So it's more of a terrain issue than a defiler issue. Defilers are actually very good. It's just the terrain issue, if that makes sense. Do you think 2 spirits 1 HP is the way to go? I believe so personally. Again, tailor it to your meta. Who's this bozo? Bring Kirby back unsub. Sorry, Blade. I'll get him back on the chair. I'm on YouTube. Don't see him. So it should be on my. It's not join member. It just should say join. So on the way you can see me, just below me, after like there's a Discussively Resilient podcast icon, and on the right there should just be a button that says join. It's giving the Death Star. Yeah. Yes, that's the reason why, Jeff. Only play casual with my friends. I'm from Denmark. Been playing on and off since 4th. Not wrong with that, mate. Casual, competitive, doesn't matter as long as we're all enjoying 40k together, bud. Hope you still have fun with it. And playing since 4th, a lot longer than I've been playing, bud. I joined in 7th edition. I have my first RTT at the end of the month. Did a GT or so again. Learning a lot from the way you think and plan. Oh, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad you got your first RTT at the end of the month. Hope you bloody hell, dog. What are you doing? I hope you're looking forward to it, bud. Are you taking Death Guard? Are you a Death Guard player, or do you have taken a different army? Don't worry, we all own more than one army. I have. Just screw my dog. 1 second. I have Levotan, and also I've just started because I got caught up in all the hype. A Shrikey Boy for Raven Guard, but obviously I'm a Death Guard main. Obviously. Being LGT to twice. Oh, sorry. My first event in November. Excited and nervous. Want to have fun and learn a lot, mate. I don't even call them like tournaments. I just call them events. Because again, you will go. You'll have fun regardless. Just meet 5 people, play 5 games. Again, if your goal is to get 1 win, mate, that's a great goal to have for your first event. There's a good chance you'll get it. But again, if you don't beat yourself up. Everyone been to their first event and went 1-4 or 0-5. It happens, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. But you might even surprise yourself and sneak out, like a 2-3 or even a 3-2. Never know. But I hope you enjoy yourself, but I hope you look forward to it. I have maybe 3 boxes painted, taking me forever. Oh, mate, don't worry. I am the slowest painter in the world. I am so slow. I am horrendously slow. Just had my first 40k after 20 years off. It was definitely, I loved every bit of it. Thanks for your constant help to get prepared nicely. Good luck for the tournament. Keep up God's work. Thank you very much, Abraham. I'm glad you enjoyed your first 40k game after 20 years off. That's a long time off, so I'm glad you played Death Guard. I'm glad you loved it. I'm glad you're having a ball of it, bud. And welcome back to 40k. They've got only two purest two. Yes, stick pure. Reject brigand. Return to predator. ATK1, thank you very much for the super sticker, bud. You need to stop doing this, mister. You get in trouble. You're getting in trouble, but thank you very much for the support, bud. Putting together the non-MSP at the moment, main tier is just got over 10,000. 10,000? Oh, boy, that's a lot. That's a lot of points more than I own Death Guard, I think. Jesus. That non-emissary kit looks amazing, by the way, so I'm very, very, very jealous. Matt, I've been playing Demons for a while, double Death Guard. There's a tournament this weekend, pondering to bring Death Guard. Start's been quite rough. It can be rough to start with, but the more you play, the more you'll get used to it, mate, honestly. Just go, take whatever army, if that's Demons, if it's Death Guard, whatever you're feeling most excited for at the moment, take that and play that. Always better to play what excites you and what's fun rather than compared to what's strong. I always love Death Guard. Matt in the chat, Matt, he also has the same syndrome I do, where he has multiple armies, but he's always pulled back to his knights. It's weird. It's like you can't escape it. You just want to play them, even if they're crap at the moment. It's just fun for us to just play our army that we love. But yeah, every event Matt aims to go for, he goes 2-3 or 3-2. He's a mid-board warrior, a mid-board legend. But you always go and you always have a great time, don't you, Matt? And that's really what it's all about. People get obsessed with results. And even I was recently, in my latest podcast episode, I talked about getting anxious and stressed recently because I feel like pressure on me to do well. Reality is it's nonsense. Just go and have fun. That's all it is. It's your comfort pick, yeah. Finally putting a 10th with Death Guard followed by Stiletter and kick Necron and Tyranids bum. Yeah, good job, bud. Nice work. Kick their asses. Robo and bug ass. Nice work, dude. Thanks for your eyes. Great. I'm glad you found it useful, mate. So, yeah, we'll have a quick drama time. So, Leeds was my first ever Super Major, and it was the first ever undefeated Super Major as well. I went 5-0 in the end, which was hype. I got second place before the Shadow Round. I couldn't stay for Shadow Round though, because at the time we just had Kirby as a puppy, and I couldn't leave her on her own for another day to deal with it, because he was a bit of a cheeky puppy, wasn't he? He was a bit of a nightmare. But I was 4-0. I was very nervous going to my 5th round. I was against Sisters of Battle, and this is when Sisters of Battle in 9th edition were very strong with Bloody Rose. I walk up to my table, the table's set up, and the fella's stood there, and I was like 10 minutes early for the round, but he's been there for a while, and his entire army's deployed on the table. There's a dice in the middle of the table. So I'm like, hey, you're right, mate, nice to meet you. He says, you're right, yeah, okay, so I've deployed, so what you can do is you can just deploy, and I'll just react to you. It's this, I was like, what? I was like, don't we go one unit at a time? And he was like, no, yeah, it's this thing. Pros have been doing it all the time at the moment. I'm just trying it out. I was like, so I don't know which one of your units is actually down, and you're just gonna react to me putting stuff down? And he was like, yeah. I was like, pretty sure it's not how it works. So when I got my friend David Irving, I brought him over. And he was like, yeah, mate, no, that's not how it works. And this guy instantly was like, I'm not like trying to cheat or anything. No one has mentioned the word cheat. So this dude has basically just been like, he's like, he's like, I'm not cheating. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. But obviously, like, a bit startled. Yeah, definitely not strange behavior at all. So he's just refusing. He's like, I'm not doing anything. It's fine. So, but I had to get to a point where like the judge walks over. Because he's seen obviously this going off, like it's a tussle happening. So I was like, look, dude, like that's not how it works. He's like, I'm not doing it. I was like, I'm already set up. I'm not changing my models. I'm not doing anything. So I was like, okay, right. We'll make it simple. You either deploy normally, or you can stay where you are, and I will deploy, and you won't change anything, and I will counter deploy you. And he was being so stubborn. He's like, no, it's fine. Go on, deploy, go. I'm not moving anything. I wasn't cheating. Wasn't doing anything. It's like. Okay, so I deploy my army. I obviously counter set him up, and then we say, okay, bud, shall we roll for first turn? Remember I said there was a dice in the middle of the table at the start of the game. It has a 5 on it. He points at that. He says, I've already rolled. That's been there since before I got to the table, by the way. So I'm like, that's unlucky, mate, because I actually rolled a dice in the toilet before, and I rolled a 6, so I'm going to go first. He was like, how do I know you've done that? And I'm just like, duh. Pot kettle, So He agrees. He agrees to a reroll as the good gaming gentleman he is. So we both roll the dice, and Karma, being the lovely lady she is, he rolled a 1, I rolled a 6, proceeded to get first turn, fully counter deployed him because of his own thing, and I think I killed like 900 points on turn 1 for him. Um, and he basically then had the biggest pouty face ever, and basically conceded. And that was the very undramatic round 5. Round 5, you think it's the hardest game you're going to have, and it was the easiest game I had because I didn't have to do anything. But what's really funny is, mid the first turn, the judge came over. Sorry, Zach came over, and Zach, who runs the event, all he was asking was, if you win this game, will you be able to stay for the shadow round? And obviously he's asking both me and my opponent because we could both potentially win the game. And he said to this guy, and he was like, I've told you I'm not trying to cheat. And he was like, I asked if you're staying for the shadow round, bud. What are you on about? So, yeah. Whoever you are, I can't remember your name, Sister Battle Player. You know, God bless you. God bless. This is the same person, by the way, that reported someone's Seraphim for not being based and got them removed from the game. So he's round 4. He won by basically grassing on someone for not having the bases fully done and having like 400 points for the round we just pulled. That's how someone like that gets to round 5. So call it poetic justice if you may. But yeah, what a fun and strange individual this fellow was. Surprisingly, didn't stay for the award ceremony. He kind of just packed up his stuff and left straight away after that first turn. But hey, we got a win, and it was our first 5-0. So yeah, there you go. That's a bit of drama time for you. Hope that story was worth you listening along to. Yeah, fun fun times. So back to actual topic. LGT. I'm lost now. I'm lost in the sauce. Yeah. So list wise, I think Decaday's list looks very good. I'm quite happy with it. Again, I love the fact that there is variation within the army. We're not just a cookie cutter. So, but the army I'm thinking of taking, I don't know yet. I've got till midnight tonight, so I have like what, 3.5 hours. I'm still concerned by the facts that what you guys said, and not having screens. Now I could always just default back to my list that went 5-0 back in what do you call it? Back at the start of 10th edition, and it also went 4-1 at the last super major, and could just add in 2 bloat drones. That is also an option, which is probably like a safe option, because obviously I know how to play that list. The problem is the meta has changed. Now we're seeing a lot more Space Marines and whatnot. Hey, Prometheus, there you go, bud. You managed to find the join button. Thank you very much for your support, bud. Massively appreciated. You've supported me multiple times already, so massively appreciated to you, Prometheus Williams. We'll see what we can do about getting some dice and some t-shirts set up for you, bud. Hopefully this LGT don't face more than 3 Eldar. Yeah, I know. Hopefully we lose all that. This is the thing. The game's looking a lot. I feel sorry for your knights. I think you got way over nerfed. But hopefully, we've already seen on Meta Monday the spread looks a bit more interesting. It's not just Eldar. We're seeing a lot more variety in the armies that are able to perform at top tier and top level, and even just on every table, people seem to have. It's not even just the fact that Eldar are bad, because they're not. They're still probably the strongest army in the game, but I think it's the fact that people feel that they can take their armies that they enjoy now and still have a really good chance of doing well, whereas before that just wasn't the case. If you weren't playing Eldar or GSC or like to a degree Imperial Knights, but again, I never thought they were as impressive as people said, but unless you were playing one of them, you just couldn't compete really. Whereas now, because the power is a lot more lower, like the difference between us all is closer. Hopefully, we're going to see a lot of people return to their favorite armies rather than the armies that are strong. So hopefully that's the goal. And I would, you know, I'm looking forward to this event a lot more than I was to the last event, because the last event was very, free custody players I got. That was fun. No, they were great guys. It was fun games, but like, I don't want to say custodies again, please. Not custodies, not Gene Still Cults, not Eldar. No. I'm done. Thank you. So, hopefully going forward it's going to be a bit more open and the meta is going to be a bit more healthy. So yeah, I'm gonna I think be running. Supposed to know? No, don't say that one. So yeah, this is the option. Or like I said, if I could quickly make the thingy list, so which would be you go, you go, you go, and then we get another 10 cultists, and then we go to a Terminator sorcerer again, and then we had a what else did we have on my list? It was Students, Cultists, Students, Death Shroud, Terminators. It was Death Guard Predator. 3 of these. There was no Rhino, that's for sure. Oh, I'm missing something really big. Oh, yeah, of course, the Poxwalker's derp. So that'd be do it. And that would be all the way up. 20 Poxwalkers. What am I missing? I'm missing something still, apparently. I still have 60 points to play around with. That's mad. What was it? I mean, I could just obviously fit in an icon bearer there, but again, he wouldn't have the ability to disembark from a transport and whatnot. This was my list that went to 5-0 and 4-1, without the bloat drones, so without these two. So there's a good chance like I could just take all reliable. What do you guys think? Um, I'm not sure if you think maybe this is a bit better. Again, we brought in back in the 20 Poxwalkers. We've got another unit of colours back in there. A lot more units to sort of run around score stuff. Um, man, it's hard. It is hard to argue with it. The thing is, like, it gives up the Rhino, and it gives up the what do you call it? The Plague Marines. But it does also have a lot more like throwawayable units, a lot more chaff, a lot more like screens, etc. So it still has the sort of same firepower. That's a good. Can I fit a Taliban in? I actually could. Ooh, that's a good shout, actually, Mr. John. That's a good one. That is a good shout. So this here has a little less crunch on the sort of like the damage dealing, because again you don't have the Plague Marine blog. But you do have a lot more screens, etc. My concern with this would be again output related, but this one plays mission a lot better, which is obviously something worth considering whenever you're talking about a list. Um, yeah, August, the same thing. Poxwalkers have been some games they've been great, some games they've been done literally nothing, and it's a bit like if I could take I just saw Matt's comment, sorry. If I could take those 100 points elsewhere, could it be could it be better to have because then I get Vect, everyone's fucking so sick of Caladi Assassins, dude. I'm so sick of them. But yeah, maybe like and Blast is like becoming a lot popular, especially like we saw like Forge Fiends have Blast. The Fire Prisms 2d6 shots is also Blast. So yeah, maybe that's worth considering. Again, that's the kind of the thing. That's the kind of the reason I did drop them in the other list that we made was because I felt like they were out like as the meta sort of got changed and got different. Like the Poxwalkers aren't becoming like as much of an issue for people. They're just kind of getting blended. Like okay, put them against Black Templars, get blended. Aggressor blocks are now everywhere because aggressors are really good for Marines. And again, they're gonna get minced because they're gonna get D6 shots blast on every single model, plus all the gauntlet shots, all with lethal hits, sustained hits. Um, and especially on a 5-up, so it's not like they will just die, like they will just like rinse. So that again was the reason I was going off them, but at the same time it is a lot of board space they can take off, so it's definitely stuff to consider. Matt, if you ever dare say Plague Surgeon ever again, it still makes me laugh when I see it. He's in the bin, dude. The bin's been emptied. Bin men came for it. He's gone. He's dead. I'm never gonna get him back. He's gone. So sad. So cry. Mark, thank you very much for becoming a member and welcome to the Plague Marines here. Thank you very much for the support, dude. Massively appreciated. Again, if you weren't here before for me to say it, I'm going to put a poll up later this week in the community channel on the YouTube page and you'll be able to vote for the upcoming next video like series that I'm starting. People that didn't hear, the idea is that I'm going to do another vid. We've got faction fundamentals, we've got podcasts, live streams that we've got right now. But we're also thinking of doing, I'm thinking of starting a series called A Perfect Plague for. So it'd be like a perfect plague for Space Marines, perfect plague for Sister Battle, and that's going to be talking about our interaction with other factions in specific matchups. So what should you take in Sisters? What should you take in Space Marines? What Contagion's best? What units are best? What's the best combos we're going to have? Etc. Etc. If that sounds like a good series to you guys, then feel free to let me know in the chat. I'll get working on that as soon as possible. Zombane, I do rate the Hellbrute, but I also think he's overrated. It's both and none. He's a good unit with a great effect. The problem is, for 140 points, and every time I've played him, he's come on once, did one thing, and then died. And the Icon Bearer does the same thing, but doesn't. He's a lot cheaper. It's 45 points being thrown away rather than 140 points. So, like, he comes on, he shoves the banner up, he dies. I'm fine with that. Like, that for me is good. Whereas he was coming on, getting one shot off, failing a charge, and then die. He is two. That's the problem. That is the problem. I mean, he's 2 up save and 8 wounds. It's just not. It's not enough to keep him trucking. He just dies. He just dies too easy, especially because he has to get line of sight to do something. He has to come in usually from open areas or expose himself, and he just gets traded up really, really easily. So I'm not. I don't think he's bad. I don't think including Hellbrute is a bad choice, but I haven't found the use for him to be worth the investment because I'm not struggling either to get my contagions on targets that I need it on as well. And again, bloat drones and icon bearer help with that massively. Yeah, another thing that got suggested as well for potential members. Would you be interested in? There's another Tuesday RTT coming up some point in November, and we came up with a crazy idea in the Nurgle Mansion Discord of letting you guys build a homunculus of a list for me, and whatever you build, I have to take to the RTT. So I'll give you a list of all my models that I own painted, and you guys can make me suffer with any list you desire, how bad or how good you want it to be, and I will take it and I will do my best with it, and we'll have a obviously I'll let you know how it goes. So if that sounds fun, also let me know. Has anyone tried Bloat Heavy Blight Launcher? I've heard people say they're very good. And they're very good for playing flanks, and they do look good. They got a good range, they got good AP, good strength, but 6 shots can be whiffy. The strength's not great on him. Again, if it's like strength 8, I'd be happier, but it's not. Strength 6, it's a weird gun. It's like good for killing Marines, but again, like the Flamers are also good for killing Marines, so it's like, you know, it's a weird one. I think if you're playing flanks with the with the unit, it's very good. But I think if you're playing like anywhere close quarters or going mid board, you're better with the other 2 weapons. Yeah, so that's what I was doing with it, Matt. I'd usually bring it in from strategic reserves and just like ping something with the bolt or the plasma gun, and then it would explode. Which wasn't the worst. Like if you get onto a good unit, it's worth it. But again, I could just like do it the same with a strategic reserved icon bearer who can come on 6, project up to 12. That's like 18 inches from any board edge, or he can be in a rhino and jump out and do it. And that would also do it. Also, just move a unit within 9. There's lots of different ways to get the contagion where you need it. It swings him right about. Again, he's not bad. I think his ability is really good. I just don't feel like I need it too much. Went to LGT a few years ago, 8th ed. I think I took Decon, went free to great experience. Hope you do well, and everyone else taking our sneaky boys. Thank you very much, Mark. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. This was my first ever LGT, so I'm a bit nervous, but I'm looking forward to it at the same time, and I'm hopefully going to have a fun time. Hopefully. Do you find fly being a hindrance? UKTC terrain. You have to fly around ruins, but honestly, I just look at it as a 10-inch move vehicle. I don't really look at fly. Fly is so negligible now. But fly does come into play, like I said before, if you were charging and you can fall back and charge, so you can fall back over a unit, so you can fly over the enemy unit, charge something behind it, or just fly over it, spread contagion, and charge back in, etc. So it does have its uses. It's just not as good as it used to be. How many plague singers do you have painted? I technically 0 now because he's in the bin, but at 1, a singular one, and he's seen the table once. No, twice actually, because I took it. Actually, he's seen the table. I took him to an event at the end of 9th edition with the Noxious Blightbringer to prove that they were actually good. The Noxious Blightbringer actually proved he was decent. The Plague Session, however, was a failure. Yeah, feel free to come over Zombie and say hi. I look forward to that. I always like meeting people, so you can always hunt down my name on the tables and whatnot. Rob, oh you Rob, oh you Rob. Okay, yeah, I know, yeah, that makes more sense. Hi Rob. You thought about removing time and 20 boxes for a second predator? Yes and no. So the problem is now adding more vehicles in is a lot of hull space. And I'm already taking up a lot of space. Like I've got one, two, three large holes, four large holes, potentially having a Rhino that's five large holes already, and you got bloat drones, which are smaller but not the smallest. So deployment space, especially Mortarian as well, deployment space can become really rough, and there's a good chance that I'll have to like leave a predator in the open, and if they get first turn, predator's not tough enough to survive, and it will just get picked up. And at which case, why did I bring the predator? It's just died for nothing. That's the issue, not the fact the predator is not wanted. I would love a second predator, but you know, it's just becomes deployment space issues at that point. Um, yeah. So yeah, I think, like I said, I've got a couple hours still to think about the list. Um, I think again we're in a meta where you can't plan for everything. So I'm probably gonna take the list I originally said with the Rhino and stuff because I feel like it's got some oomph. Hopefully don't get ran down by World Eaters, but we'll see. Um, but end of the day, meta's up in the air. We'll see what's going on. There's a lot of things that have changed, a lot of things that are changing, a lot of things that are developing, and I hope that you know. I hope I manage to. My goal is to try and get 3-2. If I get 3-2, I'll be happy. If we can push a 4-1, I'll be mega happy. 5-0, I don't think it's gonna happen, but hey, never say never. Um, yeah, like Matty said, it's just hard sometimes to place. It's hard to place units safely. Sometimes it does look. How do we use big? Honestly, it's just lethal hits and just trying to get as many as you can on a target and just focusing down, especially if you get -1 save on them. It's really hard to nuke a unit. I bring a Las Predator for that reason and 2 entropy cannons because it does help out a lot. But honestly, it's usually chip damage. Just chip away as best you can. Typhus is also great. D6 mortal wounds is for free is just really good. Like you potentially just slap 6 wounds or something for free. It's really nice. But yeah, it's not. A Death Guard anti-tank is not. It's not our strength. I won't lie. Yeah, feel free to put me on the list, mate. Feel free. Feel free. Is there any matchups that you're dreading? Tau a bit. Tau's always a nightmare for us, especially like triple crisis suit Tau. I don't think I can win that. If it's a single or double crisis suit team and they deploy one on the board, I think I can win that one. But if they just put it all in reserves and it's triple crisis suit turn 3, it's just not going to be nice. Because the problem is we don't have the speed to pressure turn 1, 2. Because if they put all 3 suits in reserve, you just go turn 1, you just put the pressure on them and just slam into them and kill them early. But the problem is if they start on the board, we can mortar them. That's good. But when we can't get close enough to them because of our speed and whatnot, so it's basically if they say all 3 units are going in reserves, I'm gonna have to deploy on the line. If they don't, then and they start on the board, then we'll play the more classic game of mortaring them every turn until we can weaken them, then we can expose ourselves. But it's not a match. I never enjoy playing against Tau. I don't like it. It's not fun. But Tao's get really good at the moment as well, which isn't great, and it's becoming popular. I kind of wish it was still shit. What do you think of play bringing blight launchers now? It's easy to get more AP. I think solid weapon. So 6 AP2. Well, AP2 if you get the extra save on it, or you get up to AP3 potentially if you get the command point on it as well. Solid weapon, 2 damage. Don't know it's not going to set the world on fire, but it's a lot better than, like I said, I always say, if you compare these guys to other troop units, the damage output on the weapons they can carry compared to other like battle line units is actually quite nutty. So I'd always be happy to put a blight launcher in the squad every time. Nothing wrong with bringing a good old blight launcher. So yeah, looking at the missions, Scorched Earth. Again, we're talking about deployments. We're thinking like multiplayer plus calls here. Wet the Rhino again, being able to deploy in here, move, advance out, do an action here if needed. This is what's making me really want the Rhino. Is you can just see the Rhino plays just open up everywhere. Here, get around this middle L. You dominate both of these 2 points now potentially. Having that ability to just be like, hey, I control both of these and like in a threat range. Ica Bear can come out, put his big icon over, entropy's at the back, Lascannon Predator is gonna have a bit of a harder time on this one because Vangles aren't that great. Could potentially strat reserve and bring him in on the side, but I can't leave home without the Predator because it's the little Predator that can does a lot of work, and again, if I don't have it, I put myself at a real big risk of like knights and whatnot. I just realised you can't even see the screen I'm looking at. Yeah, good point. Let's look at that. So screen capture. Apologies. There you go. So going up here, round two. So yeah, up here in this top L, small L, Rhino can sit in there, get turn one, move, disembark, advance onto this, do an action if you draw a card turn one. Cultist can go here, scout, move, advance, or just scout, move. I think you might be able to get onto that with and do an action turn one. Staging points are quite nice. You can obviously get a bloat drawn from here into here quite from this behind this L into here quite nicely. Same with a predator. It's not a predator, sorry, a rhino. I think the rhino opens up freedom to make more plays, which is nice compared to the others. This map's very dense. This is a rough one because this is where like the predators can really struggle to get line of sight and get damage out. Like your best bet's going here and driving here and controlling all this down the middle diagonal, but it's not great. Again, Rhino controls this top point. You can even get into the middle. Round 4 is fine. Round 5 once again. This is a bit harder. Getting to this point is a lot more vulnerable than normal, but you could put a Rhino in this L here. The L just on the top of the map. Potentially threaten this objective on the left side. It's making me really want to take a Rhino. Makes me really, really want to take a Rhino. But we'll have to see how it goes. Like I said, I'm going to have to submit this list at some point tonight, but I think the one I showed you is probably the one I'm going to be taking. Maybe a few changes. I'm thinking of dropping to 1 times 10 Cultist Zombane because I keep finding the second unit just dying and not doing anything. So if it's just dying and not doing anything, why are we using it? So hopefully I'm swapping it out for like this Rhino with some Plague Marines, a Biology Putrefying, and Icon Bearer in exchange for the Cultist and the hellbrute. Hopefully will keep the pressure on my opponent a bit more. Also gives me more OC control with OC up to 3 Plague Marines if I put the icon with them, or OC 2 if not. Because even OC 2 on a 7-man squad's 14 OC, that'll beat most things out in the game. So it's hard to make a list that covers all the grounds at the moment, but I'm feeling fairly safe with the list that I've come up with. But really, I mean, I'll just come down to playing it out. Like I said, I've not been able to practice much for LGT. To be honest, I only play like once every 2 weeks, if that. Had that little RTT, went okay. Like I said, I've messed up I fucked myself over in the last round by leaving the cards out of my deck. So I'm definitely gonna be counting my decks every game. But hopefully, we'll have a good event. Yeah. But given the time it is now, I'm probably gonna head off. Again, we talked about list and whatnot, so I'm gonna have to unfortunately scram because I do have work in the morning as well, which kind of sucks. So I want to go and chill out a bit before work, and I've also got to go and submit this list. But I will upcoming content for this week. I'm hoping to get. So let me get this straight now. I'm hoping to put up another episode of Faction Fundamentals covering our other non-character units this week. That should be going up. I am doing my lessons for Vanguard Tactics next week. So if I do. For those who don't know, I do work for Vanguard Tactics. I'm one of their coaches now. I'll be also playing for them at the event. So if you ever for coaching anything like that, feel free to check out Vanguard Tactics and their content. What else have I got coming up this week? Oh, Art of War are doing a review on the index for Death Guard. And I'm doing it for them, which is quite cool. With Adam Camilleri, so look forward to that coming up. Oh god, I've got a busy week, haven't I? Obviously LGT prep. I'll try and get another like chat up at some point. It won't be a long stream, but hopefully a little prep to sort of show you the locked in list and what we're gonna do. And also we'll have that poll up as well for the members that have joined. How many members did we get? That's a good question. Let me go find out. I will have to take the screen off this, otherwise you're going to see all of my analytics, which is going to be quite boring. Although for some reason I cannot show you the. Why can't I see that? Hey, show battle scribe, please. There you go. You can all start battle scribe again. I'll have a look how many members we got. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Members. Ooh, you know what? I'm that bad. I don't even know how to get on it. Is it this button? Memberships. We have currently. It won't tell me. It hasn't updated yet. I can see a list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 members in one stream. That is excellent. Also, the fella that beat me at the RTT, Mikey, who does Hellstorm Wargaming, he sets his goal at 10 members a day. I just beat you, bitch. Take that, my revenge. But yeah, you are no longer a lowly Poxwalker Previous Williams. You are now a full-fledged Plague Marine. So yeah, look forward to a lot of content coming up hopefully soon. Again, we'll talk about getting that new series started as well. I'm back from LGT. Obviously, expect a full stream about LGT. Thank you, August, because I will forget to add those weapons onto the cultists. So thank you for the reminder. But yeah, so this week, faction fundamentals, list locking potentially another thing, Art of War, Vanguard tactics stuff. What else? Then we're back from LGT, so we're gonna have a talk about the games, the recap. Hopefully we do pretty well. That'll be nice. Yeah, bully him tomorrow. Bully Mikey for me. That'll be really fun. And yeah, but they're also potentially getting that new series started. Do bear with me. I am just a dude, and obviously Will's just a dude. We both do work full-time jobs, and we are trying our best to keep the content flowing. We massively appreciate your support in everything, especially tonight. Tonight's been insane. The members and the donations, etc., super chats, super stickers, massively appreciated. Well, I can also do some like list reviews of your guys' stuff. So again, we'll talk about it. We'll get some ideas flowing. But yeah, join No Smash in Discord as well. Link if you want me to put a fresh link, let me know. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you on sort of like the next videos, next content. Just let us know. Let us know what you want to see. Again, I try to give the people what they like, whether that's Cherry Aid Dice or another Faction Fundamentals episode, or again a new series or something. Will's thinking about starting his own series of life of like a mid-table gamer, which is be quite fun. Sort of his goal to like push his first of a 4-1 because he's now like a 3-2-2-3. So he wants to talk about that. Maybe some people can sort of like relate to Will's journey more as like not that I'm not a mid-level player, like I can go 3-2 etc as well, but we just feel like it'd be cool to sort of like see the game from his perspective as well, rather than just being like Aiden. Yes, also we do have to hit 2k subscribers, because if we don't, I'm actually not going to LGT. I'm gonna throw a hissy fit, and I'm basically just gonna shut down the channel. No one's gonna get anything. I'm not gonna refund you memberships. I'm gonna steal all your money. I'm just gonna become a horrible person and I'm gonna start playing Eldar. So really, it's on you guys if that happens. It's not my fault. Eldar are not cool. When your girlfriend says Eldar are cool. Ugh. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. I'm gonna actually go because I'm the king of waffling. I waffle on very well, and I will not stop waffling until I hit the end stream button. So thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. I hope you have a lovely evening or rest of your weekend, however little or long it is, and have a great day at work. What did I just say? Have a great day at work. If you are working, have a great day at work. Well, yeah, if you're in London, feel free to come say hi, Aiden Smalley. You find me at some table. I think Wargame Lives actually wants me on to do a stream game. Again, I'm just trying. Look at me, I'm the king of waffling shit. I'm very good at it. So yeah, I'm going to let you all go now. Goodbye, good night. Thank you very much for the support for everyone that joined, watched, became a member, etc. It's all much appreciated. Even a view, a like is more than I could have ever asked for. And for anyone that did more than that, you guys are honestly blown my mind and made my evening. So thank you very much, everybody. Take care, and I will catch you